We bought this Hampton outdoor shower kit. It's an enclosure. It's for our pool. We have a shower out there, and this will allow our ladies and our men to be able to change privately. So we're just going to make a video of this. I'll use the speed. I'll increase the speed on the camera, but sort of hopefully be able to give you an idea of how this thing goes together. There are a lot of pieces. I will say, unpacking it, it's really high quality. It's not cheap. It was, I think, around $600, but it is high quality. Gives everybody a peace of mind. To be honest, I wish I'd have done this years ago. All right, so these are the pieces laid out. Obviously, your hardware. The hinges are really nice, really heavy duty. And the PVC, I don't know, it looks to be like an 80 gauge, heavy duty wood support already placed on the inside. You can see that on these. That would be the fence railing, and just the other parts we're going to be putting together here, the instructions. It's also nicely decorative. You can see these caps that are going to go on top of it, and little feet things, all the ports here. So really nice, and we're going to put her together, see how she looks. So the first thing you want to do is lay out your material. You can see it there. They give you a sheet here in the instruction booklet that shows all the parts and the letters that they're giving each part. So as you go through the instructions, and it says E or G. Now the posts, because they need to be in a certain direction, what they've done with those is they actually cut, they cut a groove into the post, a letter. So A, B, C, and D is actually cut into the post. And that's to make sure that you get the right posts going in the right direction, etc. And then everything else is really easily to be identified. All the screws or fillets head. So you want to get yourself a good drill would be better, but you know, if you have to do a hand tool, that's fine. And make sure you got a bit that fits that head, because you don't want to strip these screws. And they are self-tapping to go into the plastic or the wood. Now, I will say ahead of time, you're going to need, if you're going into concrete, you're going to need some concrete screws, masonry bits and screws, like I am. I'm going to be going into the concrete on the floor. And they have the little feet over there. You'll drill into the concrete, put the post in that foot, and then drill into the post. We'll see that later. Quick correction. This kit does not come with the hardware if you're going to mount this on concrete, or even if you're going to do an in-ground where you anchor it deep into the ground. You would have to go online and order this material right here to do that. This is for concrete. This is for in-ground. You'd have to have your own lag bolts and all of that. So I'm going to order these real quick. It should be in a couple of days, and then we'll go ahead and put this together and install it later. But just giving you a heads up on that. The actual mounting of this unit is something that you are going to have to be able to do, unless it's wood. So it comes with the necessary hardware for it. All right, so the first step is they want us to take bracket M. This is what it looks like, bracket M. And you can see the 4 holes here, right? And 2 holes there for mounting rails. This side is what's going to attach to these rails like this. They're saying to use the 3/4 inch screws. So, and you'll see the bag. The bag of screws are actually with the brackets. There's some longer ones, and then there's these 3/4 inch screws. And these are the ones I want you to use. Posts A and B, everywhere you see there's 4 holes like that, you want to attach one of these brackets. Same with, A and C. And then the same thing with B and D. But on B and D posts, there also a bracket on the side. So if you see 4 holes like this, whether it's on the side or on the edge or the flat part of the post, you need to mount one of these brackets to it. All right, before I start mounting the brackets, I want to point something out to you. Inside these posts where the bracket's going to go. By the way, that's what the hose, I don't know if we can see that. Glare there, there they are. The hose that I'm talking about where the bracket goes. Bracket sits right on top of that. Inside of these posts is a second post. And they're supposed to be secured, but they can slide out. A couple of mine slid out. And the reason why they're in there is it doubles the plastic, the PVC. So when the brace goes in, it's got double the strength rather than just the regular PVC thickness. So I'm mentioning this to you to make sure that these little holes are lining up here on both sides, and that you've got, through here, that you're not blocking, and that the holes are lined up. Make sure these inserts are in the right way. Okay, so one more thing. The bracket, one end has a slot, the other end is open. You want to make sure that the open end is pointing up towards the top of the post. Part of the post that's going to be pointing up towards the sky. A good way to know that is the brace opening right here. Let the open end point towards the hole in the post that's going to have the brace in it. Just make sure you look at the instructions and you look at the pole and that you're mounting these things properly. Otherwise, you're going to have to unmount them and do it again. All right, next is what they're calling the U channel, open on both ends with a long slit down the middle. The U channel has 3 pre-drilled holes, but the posts they're going on do not have pre-drilled holes. So it is up to you to center the width of this U channel in the middle of that bracket. And that is going to be between the open end and closed end of the bracket. So every post has a set of brackets, and then 2 posts have 2 sets of brackets. So you're going to be installing 6 of these U channels. Line them up the best you can. Make sure they're, in the center. And then you'll be using these, I think it's an 1.25 inch. Yeah, an 1.25 inch screw. And these screws came with these U brackets. In other words, they were wrapped up with the U brackets. It's the second pack of screws because the little brackets that we just put on were also with these U channels. And we already used the 3/4 inch screws, so now you're going to use the 1.25 inch screws. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, they call it a side rail, I believe, and it's got that groove all the way through it. There's 6 of them. You're going to line up your posts so that the top of the post is facing one direction and the bottom is facing the other. You're going to take posts A and B, put them on their edge, and position them so that the brackets that you just mounted are facing one another. Then you're going to take this brace, let's call it, and you're going to slip it into those brackets on the bottom of the post. And you're going to use the 3/4 inch screw to mount these brackets through the hole, to mount this rail onto the brackets through the pre-drill holes in the brackets. All right, let me save you a little trouble. When you put those side railings on in between those brackets, make sure that that railing is not overlapping the bracket. Because when you go to put this bottom brace on, you're going to have trouble getting it into that bracket, and some of that plastic from the railing is poking into the bracket. And I didn't pay attention to that, and I got a couple of those. So just letting you know, make sure that railing doesn't go inside that open end of that bracket when you put that on. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is put these panels on this frame. You stand up the frame, and a couple things to pay attention to is, personally, I'm using a rubber mallet. You can use a regular hammer, but if you do, you probably want to get a piece of wood, put it on the edge of your panel before hitting it and showing the damage. Rubber mallet works perfectly. Just line this panel up and make sure it goes in that way, and then you make sure that it taps all the way into this side railing on both sides. And you do that slowly. The other thing to pay attention to is, remember, one side of the panel has a groove, the other side has a little edge. And so just pay attention that when you're done here, you have the groove and the edge, because you're going to need that when you slip this panel in. So we're going to lay this back down, and we're just going to slip this panel in, and it's going to go groove and edge, right? Groove and edge. Okay. So you do the same thing. That's A and B frame. You do the same thing for C and D, and I'll show you that as well. All right, so your next step is going to be to line the walls with these brackets. Brackets facing each other. And we're going to take the remaining two railings right here. And you're going to put one on top, well, one on bottom first. Then you're going to put these last three panels you have. You're going to slip those panels in just like you did on the sides and put that railing on top and close that off. Now, I'm putting mine up against a wall in the shower. So I'm going to put the railings on to hold it together, but I'm not going to put the panels in because I'm going to use my back wall as my paneling, as my shower knob, and everything's there. It needs to come through, and I don't want to cut holes in these panels. I'm saving if one of the panels are damaged somehow. So we're going to put that together, and then we'll start working on the next part. All right, for this part, you're going to need a ladder, and you're going to take these beams, and you got the right one because of all the hose on one end. Make sure your hose are going up when you put this beam through, because that's what you're going to be lining up your railings on. So you're going to slide these beams through these pre-drilled holes up here. The beams are going to slide through like that. Before you do that, you're going to take this cute little decorative cap, end cap. You're going to push that over the top. You're going to come down. You're going to stop right below that hole on that beam. Do that for all four corners. Slide these two beams through. Then you're going to put this cap on top. So after you slide the beams through, after you put the subcap on, slide the beam, put the top cap on the end, on the two ends, you're going to take this decorative little guys here, and you're going to slip them on the four ends that are poking out of those beams that are going through. You also want to make sure you got the same distance on your beam poking out on both sides. You have to take a tape and measure that. They give you some glue, so you can take this glue if you want. You don't have to, but put it on the inside of this end cap, glue it on. You can put it on the inside of those subcaps and top caps. You can glue all that on if you want to. That's up to you. All right, your next step is going to be to take the unit where you're actually going to install it. And you want to square it up there. So not only should the width of each opening be the same, but diagonally should be the same as well. And so I'm going to finish my project here because I'm doing a little bit different. I'm gonna go ahead and put the door together. I'm gonna put the slats on, the rest of this, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then I'm just gonna kind of carry it out there, assembled, because I'm mounting it up against my wall. And I'll just make sure the posts are level and they are the proper distance from one another. And I'll do the same thing with the front post, and that will square it up for me. So the next thing we're going to do is install these privacy strips. You know you have the right strip by this edge here, by the hose that go all the way down it. Now these privacy strips are going to be mounted on the front of the unit where the doors go. And they're going to be mounted right up against the post. You're going to use 1.25" screws. You're going to go through these pre-drilled holes. And about an inch below that top rail is where you want to start. And you just place this guy up against it. And like this. I'm going to lift this a little bit away. This is where my doors go. I'm just going to place it like this. You can screw using those 1.25" screws. And you're going to do the same thing for the other side. So both posts are going to have one of those. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to build the door. You want to take your bottom rail. You see the slot there? That's where the panels are going to go in. So you're going to use your bottom rail, and you're going to use 2 of these guys initially, or 4 of them eventually. And you can see here, insert horizontal rail fully. So it tells you the hole that the rail goes in. Now, obviously, you're going to want these screws to point on the inside of your cabinet. So just sort of pay attention to that and make sure that you put the top on the same way you put the bottom on. So basically, this is the bottom. I'm sorry about that. And you are just going to be slipping it on like so. Putting it on there. All the way in. And all the way till you hear it. Woo, excuse me. Till you hear it come together. And you're going to do the same thing over here. Till you hear it come together. All right, well, boom. Kind of looks like that. Do not screw these on yet. We don't mount and screw these until after the whole door frame is put together. So what's going to happen now is we're going to put the 2 rails here, and we're going to slide the partitions in, then we're going to put the top on, and then we're going to square it up and screw it in. All right. So you can see I have the panels on the frame here, and something to point out is there's two panels that are larger and one smaller. So what they do is they have you put a larger panel in on one side, smaller panel in on the other side, and then the other larger panel fits in between the two. Now, none of this is secured yet. So we're going to put together the top bracket now and fit it on. And then they give you a device here. It's a square up bracket, right? So once we got the other thing on, we're going to attach this to a corner and we're going to adjust it so that it is the same distance diagonally on both. Once we have that, we this in right here, and this is the other piece. They go together like so, and then you have adjustments. You can slide it in or out, and that's going to hold that door square. We'll see. Once you measure and you make sure that the door is square, and you do that by measuring the diagonals on the door, make sure they're the same. You're going to attach this brace. It's just going to keep the door square. There's a little package that comes with those brace. That brace, it's a machine bolt with a nut. You're going to use these two machine bolts with the nut to secure the brace itself. And then you're going to use these screws, came in the same package, to attach the brace to the corners. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach these hinges to this door. This is a really good hinge. You see how it opens up? It's got more screws on the inside. So the fat port, the hinge port, sticks outside, not inside. And you're going to mount this hinge right on that bracket up there, that L bracket up there. And this port is going to go right up against the post on the unit itself. This port will be poking in between the door and the post. And you do the same thing on the bottom. Then once all these screws are attached, you open the door, and when you open the door, you'll be able to access the inside screws, and you'll screw these to the door and the post as well. So it is a well attached door with springs. Springs are going to hold it shut. It comes with a latch. I don't think you're going to need it. If you can use it to lock the door, I guess, stop somebody from coming in. These are the screws that come with the hinges. And they're uh, drilling, and these are the ones you'll use to attach this hinge. So I'm going to attach the hinges to the door initially. Now to get them to the frame of this unit, you're going to have to prop this door up with something on both sides, make it even, and then attach your hinges while this thing's being held up by some shimmies underneath. What I'm attempting to do now is, mount the door. I would like the top of this door to be the same height as the wall. And so that's why I'm taking away and adding some of these little shims, which are really just a kid's mat, square pieces. So that's what we're doing. And then I will mount the hinges to the frame of this unit, and then open it up and mount the inside screws as well. This is the latch it comes with, and they want you to mount it on top of the door and then drill a hole in your post so that when a person gets in there, they can push that latch through. Someone tries to come open that door, it won't open. I'm probably going to go with a different kind of latch than this. A couple of reasons. One, there are screws up top. You have screws up here that makes this latch not sit well on top of this. And I just don't think it's a real good system. So I'm just going to buy a different kind of latch to the inside, to do that. All right, next is we're going to finish this off at the top, and then I've got to get this thing back where I'm going to mount it. And like I said, I'm just mounting it. I'm going up against the wall with it, and then probably just use some angle iron to bolt it down to the concrete. But you can buy those inserts, it's little feet that go up in the bottom of these posts, and then you can mount that using concrete screws and secure it better. All right, this is the last step to assembly. We got these little slats here, pre-drilled holes, just through and through, and they're going to lay flat like this on top of those beams. And remember, those beams have pre-drilled holes as well. My suggestion is It'll be hard to find that hole in that beam to match it up. Is get that screw started to where it's barely poking out on this end. And then you can move it and it'll snap into that little hole, then you can drill it in. That's gonna be your easiest way. All right, that's the finished product. And I'll have to get her out there. I'll show me mounting it as well. Mine's kind of a unique situation. This thing is actually designed to have these panels down here on the back so that you're fully closed in. But my shower head comes off the back wall there in the pool area. So that's why I'm leaving that open. I'll square this up so the door is square and everything is squared up. All right. So this is the finished product. And I'm going to get better anchors. I temporarily anchored it here using tap cons. This is the inside. You can see why I let the panels out. We're going to put some shelves and some hooks and things with it. The door has spring light. We're going to get a latch for that so people go inside. They are taken care of. So that's it. So the final video, just wanted to show the little legs that come in. You can see that metal plating underneath there. So that leg slips up into that other leg, mounts on with them bolts right there to hold them in place. And then I use lag bolts, drilled them down into the concrete, put them right on. They're on all four legs. And I put a couple small things on the inside, not a whole lot. We got the little basket, the towel and bathing suit hanger. I got this little soap, keep it from bugs getting on it, and something else over here you can put in. You can get those accessories all from the same company you bought the shower unit from. All right, we love it. My wife's already used it a couple times. Very nice.